So Blizzard nerfed my lightning sorcerer build, but I have an even better one this beta. With an insane amount of sustained damage, AoE damage, and high single target damage output. And the build is actually much more active and really fun to play. And on top of that, this is definitely going to be the build to fight ASHAVA with. What's up, world? It's Sorcerer back in the video. Today we're checking out all things Diablo 4. Okay, so let's just jump into the build itself. And this does not require any legendaries, although I do have a few already. But yeah, you shouldn't need any legendaries, and you shouldn't need any additional item contributions to make this work. Let's go ahead and refund all, and we'll go back to the beginning. Like I said, this is actually super active. It's super fun to play. It does a lot of AoE damage. You're going to be putting down firewalls and things of that nature. And so let's just jump right into it. So first up, unfortunately, we have to take all 5 of our main kind of skill set here, because we're actually going to skip this entire row here. So we'll go ahead and go into these. Now you can decide if you want. Now I know people in my last video didn't really like that I said that you can go either one, and they kind of just wanted more of like a set thing. But if you're finding out that you're running out of mana or things of that nature, you can always switch these for a lot of cases, for a lot of specs, if you just are finding one thing more playable than the other. But I go this route because we're already going to have a lot of mana regeneration, so I don't think. But anyway, so in order for us to push over to here, we really don't want anything else here. And I know in one of my videos I did the little mana thing, which I thought this was much more than just 3 mana each. I thought there was, like, you know, a smaller mana pool than 100. In any case, so we're gonna have to go into all 5 into here, or at least 4 to push into the next row here. And then once we get into here, we're gonna go ahead, and we already have a teleport, which is nice, so we don't have to waste a point there for now. But we do want to get Ice Shield, because Ice Shield is going to help a ton with our mana regeneration. And so I only go into the 1 spec here. Now we also want to grab our Flame Shield, and we don't really need to grab this one. Flame Shield doesn't last very long as far as kind of the push. And so after this point, because we don't really have anything else to put points into, we're going to come back into here and put another point into our Firebolt. Again, this is helping with leveling as you go, and so you can kind of see how the points work out as you level. Now next up, we will go into Glass Cannon. And then once we get here, we're going to go ahead and slap my abilities down here. And again, this is the 1 item contribution technically, but you can swap out one of the points, especially for Glass Cannon. Fire Shield on here as well. Okay, on to the next part. Now we'll come into here, and we will grab a Hydra. Now, I like to just do 1 for now, and I'll show you why that is. We're also going to grab into the Align the Elements, so I would grab this pretty early on if you can, maybe right after you get 1 into Hydra. We're also going to put 1 into the Healthy Head here. And then after this point, we'll go ahead, and because we can't get into too far, now moving on from this point, you have a few options here. What I like to do is, because there isn't a lot of damage increase with the Hydra, as you see here, it's very small numbers, and unless you have the 2 heads that you can make with the legendary, I would recommend taking these 2 points that you're going to put in here and putting them in a Glass Cannon, because it's going to make all damage across your character a lot more. You will notice the increased damage right away. It is pretty stark, whereas the damage output does feel very hectic. Now, while you're building, I will mention that while you're building this, you might want to use a lightning build until around level 15, as this is when you'll be able to finally get, maybe 16, if you don't have an item contribution, is when you'll be able to get Firewall. Now, Firewall already has an item contribution in it, but we're going to go ahead and put another point in it anyways. And then we're going to go ahead and take our Enhanced Burning Wall, and we'll take the mana regeneration here. This does leave you with usually 2 points left, or 1 point left rather, and so I would just put that in Firewall, and you'll probably be out of 2 here, which that will be your main ability. At least my move is on my right click, whereas my main ability is on my left click. Now, there isn't really any other way to get points here, so you're probably only going to have 2 of 3 unless you have the ending ability, or I think you can get the ending amulet that gives you the +1 to all mastery skills, which is right here. So you should have this when you get to the end of the game. You should have 3 here. You should have 1 in Firewall already, but you'll only be able to get 2 if you don't have the item, or if you have to replace the item finally. But this should be the primary build. Again, if you really wanted to, or if you had the legendary, you could swap out these 2 points, or not take Glass Cannon at all, and then put the rest of the points in here. Although I still would recommend taking Glass Cannon, because we already have a ton of mitigation here. And as you see, none of the item contributions mattered. I still had to put 1 on Ice Armor to get that. And so everything else is fair and fine, so I didn't need to take off anything to like I did last time. But let's just get on to the damage and what we're kind of outputting with each ability. Okay, so really quickly, we're just going to head to the local event area, and I'm kind of going to showcase how you can actually farm this event. It's right here. You can kind of come down here and relog in. There's a few videos on it, but you'll just see that there's going to be constant damage output, and we're regenerating mana so quickly that it's just it kind of we can kind of just keep spamming our firewall. Lightning felt okay, but it just didn't have this type of damage output. And I'll kind of fast forward into a point where we eventually get to a boss here. And with your constant shield mitigations, you're really not taking any damage. And you also have 2 CC breaks. You have your teleport, that's a CC break, and your flame shield is also technically a CC break, which is actually really, really good. And then you also have that ice shield, which is just allowing you to kind of output and hold damage. As you see, it's already, the mob is kind of already gone, and it was that simple. I was hoping for a boss fight there that I could showcase a little more damage on, but I'll have B-roll throughout this video that kind of showcases the damage that this class can output, and it honestly will be the kind of ASHAVA build, as it's going to have super good amount of sustained damage. You're going to have your little turret here thing with your kind of your hydras, right? Those are going to be outputting a lot of damage, even if it's only the one stat you're not specking into it, because these things kind of did get nerfed anyways. And then you're also going to have your firewalls that are constantly down, and I guess I forgot to go into this. You're also going to want to, because your respect it went out, you're also going to want to use the modifier, the enchantment for firewall, because this is each time an enemy takes burning damage, those are 5% chance to spawn 2 firewalls underneath them. So it's constantly doing firewalls, which is then, you know, if you put these under the boss, it's sustaining damage the entire time, and you can keep spawning them. As you see, my mana's already back very, very quickly. The mana regeneration is super, super fast on this spec. And on top of that, you have the hydras, and then you can also use your auto ability. So this class is going to be, or this spec rather, is going to be kind of the go-to for, I think, a lot of people after around level 15 and 20. Early game Lightning Source is still really, really good. It's just not good on boss fights, and it doesn't have the amount of sustained damage that it used to. Whereas this build kind of does, is it has some insane output and sustained damage that's just kind of like unmatched. And as you can see here, I've already been farming a lot. I already have 4 legendaries, but none of these are really doing anything that are kind of adding to it. In fact, I was kind of moving around a lot there to where it didn't really matter a ton. My one legendary that gives me a lot here is, like, if I stand still, I get 30% increased damage if it ticks up to that. But that wasn't really the case there, so as I was kind of moving around, especially for a lot of the footage as well, I didn't really have this legendary yet. So you don't need a legendary, and this build's already really good. But that does about cover for today's build video, and I should have a Necromancer build video tomorrow, and also maybe even another Sorcerer build. I'm trying to get Ice to work, I'm trying to get Lightning Sword to work, and they've just been a little rough, so I'll see what I can do with it. Maybe it needs a legendary, but I'll let you guys know tomorrow or later today. And as you see, this event already popped up, so it's very simple to do. But in any case, if you guys enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and it's the next one.